Hey, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. One of my favorite days, just because we're getting over that midweek hump. Hanging out with you, Leah Anderson, 1023 XLC. And tonight is the night tires and heels. We are talking car care. We're talking car care with Waukegan Tire. And with me tonight is the GM, Michael, aka the free ruler of the world, king of the world, whatever you want to call him. And then Megan joining us tonight, who, Megan, I didn't catch your last name, but you're a race car driver?
Yeah, my last name's Decker.
Okay.
I race out at Sycamore Speedway, and as well I do a Racing for Boobs event out at Route 66 in Joliet.
Awesome. All right, and so you're still racing. You're still in the car world.
I'm still in the car world. I mean, our season's over, and COVID kind of put a damper on our season this year, but definitely still in the car world.
COVID's kind of putting a damper on everything, but as far as the ladies' car care clinic going on, which is really what Tires and Wheels is all about, is this something that you guys do over at Waukegan Tire, Michael, every year? Or are you guys just taking kind of advantage of the fact that a lot of people are doing things more virtually? It's a nice way to interact with people and get information out there at the same time.
Yeah, we've done a few of these live where we've brought in instructors and had people come in and actually changing tires, checking oil, doing things on cars. We've done a few of those in years past, and we wanted to look at getting them started again. And obviously we can't bring a bunch of people in, so we started looking at doing them virtually.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best way to do it. We're kind of doing that with every situation, trying to find a way around the whole COVID thing and social distancing. But I'm not even sure we need to go into why it's important to do maintenance on your car. But in case you want to just give a brief, and also, when you say tires and heels, I want to go back on this because we live in a climate where everyone gets offended by everything. So people are going to be like, what, ladies are the only ones that need to know that we need to take care of our cars? But I'm going to be honest. Right now, especially when I was younger, I would put pictures on my dash and cover up the lights. And I don't know if I did it intentionally because I didn't want to deal with whatever lights were popping up. But I know that I didn't pay attention. I don't know if that's a gender thing or if that was just me being young and dumb. But is it more ladies than men, or what do you guys see?
I mean, I feel like I've heard of people putting lights on dashes to cover up, pictures on dashes to cover up lights, cranking up the radio so that you don't hear the noise of the car. Personally, I mean, I don't think it's a gender. I think it's just a younger generational thing.
I think it's just a younger generational thing. I don't think it's a gender deal.
Well, I know my dad would always be like, oh, you need to tuck away $100 every week just in case anything happens to your car. I'm like, $100 a week? I'm like, are you crazy? Like, who prepares for something like that? But a way to prepare is to make sure that you're doing those maintenance checks and you're taking care of your vehicle. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's getting you from point A to point B. While we're on lights, what's the most common light that pops up on the dash?
I mean, on a day-to-day, I would say the most common is probably your TPMS sensor, which is actually what I'm holding and playing with right now. You have your tire stem or your valve stem, but if you look at the tire, what kind of sticks out of the tire right here is how you check your pressure. This just monitors your whole tire pressure system in your car. The reason that's important is because you want, equal wear on your tire. You don't want the irregular wear. You don't want to have overinflated tires. You don't want to have underinflated tires. You just want a nice ride and to get the best life quality out of your tires.
So how often should I be checking that? Because especially right now with the change of seasons and the change of temperatures, I mean, that light comes on for me. I recognize the light. I didn't know it's called TPMS.
Correct. It's your tire pressure monitoring system.
So just PMS with a T in front of it. Okay, I got it. I'm going to remember it that way. But that light pops on for me all the time. And I'm just like, oh, it's because of the change of weather. And shame on me. I don't then turn around and check the pressure in my tires to make sure everything's A-okay. How often should you be doing that?
I mean, I definitely, anytime that it's the light is sitting on your dash, I would get a tire pressure gauge, check all your tires, make sure that they're inflated to where they're supposed to be at. There's a placard on the inside of your driver's door that it will tell you what all four-wheelers are supposed to be at. If it's flashing, then that's definitely something that you need to take it in and get checked, because that could be a malfunction in the system where a battery in the sensor is going low, or there could be a communication between the sensor and the vehicle. But I would definitely, if it's illuminated on your dash, get it checked out, just so that you don't have a tire going flat on you when you're on the expressway, or having a blowout because you're underinflated.
Right. And even now I discovered something at gas stations, like it's all digital. You could just put, after you look at your door right there and find out what it needs to be at, you just digitally put it in there. It's not like where you have to keep stopping and checking to see if you've reached that number yet when you're filling your airs. I mean, they're making it like dummy proof.
And I mean, like when the weather changes, whether it's hot to cold, I mean, like you're going to have a fluctuation in your tire pressure. I mean, mine I check all the time just because I'm that car person that's neurotic about stuff.
Right.
When you first get in, I mean, you can probably have a fluctuation, I'd say, of like, 4 to 5 pounds, whether you're driving a lot, whether it's cold outside. But it's definitely something that I would keep an eye on.
And before we continue, I do want to mention that Michael and Megan, after we're done, going over the main things here, if anyone has any questions, you can post those on Facebook, and we are going to be giving away some laptop cases, courtesy of Waukegan Tire. But keeping the tire conversation going, obviously, because you guys are Waukegan Tire. My husband was looking at his car the other day and he's like, yeah, I'm going to need some new tires before winter gets here. And I'm like, how long have you had those? He's like, oh, I don't know, probably ever since I had the car. I know every tire is different. And there's so many different kinds of tires, but on average, how long should they last you? How often should you be taking a look at them to say like, oh, I might need to, whether get to, because can you do like the front and the back, or how does it, I don't even understand. How does that work?
I mean, generally speaking, I believe that you're supposed to, if you're changing the front, you should change both fronts, correct?
You should. You should be looking at average, mileage wise. You're probably, most OEMs are going to run you 50,000 miles is going to be about the max on an original equipment tire.
Okay.
So, when you start getting up around that 40,000 miles, you really should be, going to your local tire store. If you live in Lake County, obviously coming to Waukegan Tire. But I mean, if coming by and you have tread depth, every tire has a marker in it. Department of Transportation, it has to have a marker in it that tells you when they're worn, and you just need to find that marker in the tire, and you get an idea of when they're worn out.
So you don't have to use a penny anymore?
Yeah, you can still use a penny.
Growing up, I was always told to stick the penny in, and I believe it's if you no longer see.
If you can see the top of Lincoln's head,
then it's time to get it replaced.
But that's the legally worn out. They start getting slippery, or the traction gets diminished at really about 4:30 seconds. Tires are measured in 30 seconds of an inch. Lincoln, the penny deal is 2:30 seconds, and that's the legal limit for tires.
Okay.
So at that is the legal limit for tires. That's a no-brainer. They need to be replaced.
Okay.
We start recommending somewhere around 4:30 seconds, just because of you need to start planning for that because of diminished. Wet traction gets diminished because your tire grooves get shallow. They don't channel as much water away. Hydroplaning becomes more of an issue.
Well, and also dry rotting becomes an issue as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's really a more of a time thing, depending on where the vehicle is. That happens in a lot of vehicles that sit. If a vehicle sits and not driven a lot, we get low mileage vehicles in that where the tires are starting to dry rot. And basically what it is, the tire's a petroleum product, and as it sits, it dries out. It needs to be flexing just like a muscle. It needs to be moving to keep that petroleum, to keep that tire from drying out.
So you might have a lower mileage vehicle, but if it's not being driven very often, I know sometimes Grandpa didn't drive the Buick all that much, so I know his got dry rot.
Yeah. So you got to look at them. I mean, you really just need to have them inspected. Find yourself a reputable shop in your area, wherever you are, and go to them and say, hey, look at my tires, tell me what I need. And 90% of them are going to look at them, they're going to measure them. They should be measuring them. And they should be able to give you numbers. This one's at 7:30 seconds, this one's at 5:30 seconds, this one's at 6:30 seconds. They should be able to give you all those numbers and then make an informed decision.
I'm learning so much right now. First of all, I never knew the penny trick.
Yeah.
Never knew that trick. I also didn't know that there is a line in there to measure. So what you're telling me, Michael, is that I shouldn't wait to get a new tire when I get a flat tire and only replace one and move the back to the front and move the new one to the, that's not the way to do it. I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Yeah.
Shame on me. Shame on me. It is. It's hard. It's hard to maintain a car.
Yeah, a lot. It is, and and tires aren't cheap, and it depends. It's so much of it depends on the car, Leah, that you gotta have. You got to know what you got.
Right.
Hey, you should be replacing them in pairs, but if the car's only got 10,000 miles on it, you damage a tire. That tire doesn't have much wear on it. You could safely put a tire on that car. If the car's got 35,000 miles on it and you want one tire, that's usually not a good call. So it's a time and mileage thing.
Okay.
How much wear is on the tire compared to, if a tire's at 5:30 seconds and a new tire's at 11:30 seconds, that's not going to be a good mix. So you want to balance the car where you have the driving experience from the wheel. It feels the same on both sides.
I feel like when I go in though and look at tires, it's like kind of when you're shopping for paper towel and you're it's the most confusing thing to me. I'm like, wait a second, someone just break it down to me. Why does this looks the same? It sounds the same in definition, but one's more expensive than the other. What is the difference between all types of tires? Is it just the tread pattern or?
Well, there's and there again, like you said, there's hundreds of them. Yeah, there's hundreds of them. Different varieties, different things. This is probably these are categories. There's high performance, which are basically summer only driving. Once you come into wintertime, these come stock on a high performance car, a high performance BMW, high performance Mercedes, Camaros. A tire like this would come on those. They're not made to be driven in the wintertime. They don't have good winter capabilities. Then you get high performance all season, which have a little bit more capabilities as far as winter goes, but they're still really not where you want to be. I mean, so much of it is going to depend on the kind of car you have. Then the most common tire on the market today is considered an all season. And there's hundreds of tire manufacturers that make all season tires for most cars. And they range anywhere from 40,000 miles to 90,000 miles in mileage. And I mean, depending on the kind of car you have, they have, like I said, there's a price range, all over the place.
Okay.
And then when you get into the new category, just became in the last probably 10 years called all weather that has come in. That's what this tire is. And part of it is the compounds they put in the tire. Part of it is how they make the tire, the way they sipe the tire, which is these tread blocks are cut. The way they sipe those tires and the compound of the tire keeps this tire more flexible. This tire has your winter designation, your 3-peak mountain snowflake, that is designated on a true winter tire, but this tire is made to stay on your vehicle year round.
So like a Midwest tire.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is a snow belt tire.
Definitely say that. That's a Chicago tire. Right?
Yeah.
This is a great snow belt tire. And it's live.
I can go. So then you have this last one. It's strictly a winter tire. So you have the compounds in it that make it more flexible in the colder weather. But then those compounds as well, when you have the warmer weather, are going to break down the tire faster. So you should definitely only use those in the, the snow and the ice. Definitely not in the summertime.
Got it. I will definitely be coming by because I know that both of my vehicles are in need of some new tires. Again, chatting with Waukegan Tire. Tires and heels is what we're talking about, getting those cars ready for winter. What is something else that needs to be done before winter comes? Like alignment? I mean, obviously your car lets you know when you need an oil change, but how do you know when it's time for an alignment?
Definitely anytime you are replacing your tires, you should get an alignment. As well with the alignment, you should have your suspension inspected for loose or worn parts. It's nothing, worse than spending money on an alignment and having something else as an underlying factor, and then your alignment's all out of whack again. If you're looking at your tires, like we were just talking about for tread wear and stuff, if your alignment is not where it should be, sometimes you could have like this, the center groove could be more worn. Sometimes it could be the outer tread is more worn. And that's definitely, it's gonna, cut down on the life of your tire. Another sign that you need an alignment is if you're driving straight down the road and your steering wheel is kind of crooked one side to the other. That's another sign that your alignment needs to be redone. And another, pulling. So if you're driving straight, generally you always have both hands on the wheel, but if you can kind of feel it pulling one way or the other,
okay,
that's another indication that you need an alignment done.
All right, that's good to know. I'm learning so much. I feel silly. I feel like I shouldn't even be able to own a car without knowing these things because it's important. It's important for your safety and the safety of other people on the road with you.
Absolutely.
Megan, Michael, are there any? Oh, Sharon says antifreeze. Antifreeze is important as well.
Antifreeze is definitely important because if it's cold out and you do not have antifreeze in your car, you're going to have a really, really expensive repair bill.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah, don't want that.
If you don't have antifreeze in your car and it's cold, if you just have water in there, it can freeze and it can crack your block. And
Yeah.
you're not going to have a very nice winter.
So antifreeze is another thing that needs to be checked. Michael, what else?
Well, just like you said, coolant, which is antifreeze, needs to be, we have gauges at the shop where you can, you put it in there and you suck part of it out and tells you how cold the coolant how cold it can get before the coolant will freeze. So you don't put straight coolant in, you don't put straight water in. It's about a 50-50 mix, and that goes to about 40 below. So, checking your tires, checking your coolant, making sure your suspension has been inspected and is all tight, your alignment, and really making sure your fan, your filters, your blower, does your heater work? When you get into the car, does the heater work? When you switch it from heat to defrost, does it change?
Yeah.
Does it stop blowing on your feet and start blowing on the windshield? Because there's all kinds of mechanisms in the dash, blend doors and things that open and close to make all that happen.
Right.
So, and you can't really check them except for that's something you can do on your own. You sit in it and you turn it to defrost, make sure the defroster is blowing. Turn the fan up. Does it work on every setting? Low, medium, high, or does it only work on high? So, those are all things you should be looking at. And sitting in your car, not driving, sit in your car or in your driveway and flip those switches and see how that changes. When it's, the little picture, it shows you it's going to blow on your chest and blow on your feet. Turn it to that and make sure it does.
It's doing all that.
Yeah.
And obviously stopping by Waukegan Tire for any tire needs that anyone does have. What else do you guys do there?
Well, we do a little bit of everything. We specialize in suspension, brakes, undercar,
Okay.
box struts. We do alignments. We're probably one of the biggest alignment shops in Lake County, Illinois. We do a lot of alignments every day. We just in our little 3 shops, we have about 7 alignment machines, and we align a lot of cars. We inspect a lot of cars. We do oil changes. We do brake jobs. Check engine lights, AC work, we do, like I said, we've been here 52 years.
I was going to say, as long as I can remember, I'm not 52, but.
You know, we've been here for
Waukegan.
2 years, and you know, we're family owned. We're a family owned business, you know, and it's, you know, it's just you can come in, we'll look at your tires, look at your car. You know, every time we do free rotations, when you buy the tires from us, every time we do a rotation, we measure your brake pads. You know, we check them, we measure them with a brake tool, and then we put them on your invoice and say, hey, here's how much brake you have left. Should be able to, after a few rotations, should be able to gauge, hey, I'm gonna need brakes.
Right.
So we don't come to you one day and go, oh, by the way, brakes, you know, because
I've had that happen where I've walked in for an oil change and I go to leave and it's over $100, and I'm like, so what did I get? They're like, oh, well, you needed, you know, this. I'm like, a heads up would have been nice. So it, you know, family owned really does. I know right now a lot of people are saying family owned over and over again, shopping local, and really it's important right now. Especially, but just when it comes to your car, having someone that you can trust, and the fact that Waukegan Tire has been a staple in Lake County for 50 plus years just goes to show that they are doing exactly that. So if you are in the area and you need to have your car checked out, your tires, whatever your maintenance needs are, Waukegan Tire. And then if you are in the area at the end of the night, I am going to pick 2 people for that laptop case that you guys have, if you want to take a quick shot at that, because it's a really nice laptop case. So I'll pick 2 people at random that have commented during this live video to be gifted a laptop case. There is a question up here from Sharon. What tire and gear is best on ice?
what tire and, what was that? I'm sorry.
Can you pop that question up again? What tire and gear is best on ice?
Well, I mean, obviously, when it comes to straight ice, your winter tires are going to give you your best ice traction.
Okay.
But there again, that is a dedicated winter tire. Your next best option, if you don't want to switch tires summer and winter, would be an all-weather tire like a Wetterstein, Nokian. Almost everybody has jumped into the fray now. Goodyear has one, Firestone has one.
Gotcha.
It started out, the tires coming from, like, this tire is made in Holland, and Nokian comes from Finland, and the North American tire companies, your big tire companies, these are small, very seldom ever heard of tire companies, but your Michelins, your Bridgestones, your Firestones, your Goodyears, they're all making all-weather tire now.
Awesome. Oh, that's definitely good to know. So everything, a lot of valuable information in the last almost 25 minutes that you guys gave us. Tires and heels, of course, with Waukegan Tire. Megan, thank you so much for being on with me. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you get a better and longer season next year, and we'll be out of the whole COVID thing. But we should do
that.
We should do the virtual tires and heels thing more often. I think quarterly, Michael, we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
I think for everybody, it's just a good reminder. I mean, you forget, you go about your day-to-day life, you hop in your car and you trust it to get you to where you need to go. And then one day, boom. And really you could have been maintaining it the whole time and not had a stack of bills, as opposed to just slowly, making sure everything's up to par.
Yeah, it's much easier to do in segments than try and,
Right.
all of a sudden you need brakes all the way around. You need, and like I said, tires are not,
They're
when
not
I got
cheap.
the tire business, you could buy 4 tires for $99, and you can't
Yeah.
do that anymore.
They don't do that. They don't do that anymore.
$384. I found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, again, I really appreciate you being on with us. Definitely will send anyone with any questions your way if they are in the market. Well, everybody's, you run a good business. Everybody is in the market for tires, right?
Yeah, it's been, it was considered an essential business, so we've been open the whole time, and like I said, everybody needs tires sooner or later.
Right, exactly. This is considered essential too. They had me coming into work every day. I still don't exactly know what essential means, but I digress. You guys, thank you so much for being on with us, and have a great rest of your week.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you, Jim.
much. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.